When we take a deeper look at the demand curve and try to understand why it has a negative slope, it helps to think of an example. So what I'm going to set up here is we're going to talk about the average South African. You see they're colored in the colors of the South African flag. And their average income is about 140,000 Rand, so that's about $10,000. A liter of petrol here in South Africa costs about 14 Rand per liter, which is about $1, €1, right around there. And what we can think of is instead of them getting paid 140,000 Rand in cash, we could divide this by that and say that they get the equivalent of 10,000 liters of petrol per year. Now in this example, we're pretending there's nothing else they want to buy, only petrol. It's just an example. So when we talk about the downward slope of the demand curve, what happens when the price of petrol drops from 14 Rand to something lower, say 10 Rand? Well, what happens is, if you think about their income being represented by the amount of things they can buy, in this case, just petrol, well, they can buy more things because the price is lower. So, as the price decreases, their ability to buy things increases, and it is as if they're getting paid more. They're not really getting paid more, they still make just 140,000 Rand, but because the price dropped, they have the ability to buy more things. So, the result of that is quantity demanded is going to increase. Likewise, if 1 liter of petrol could get you 10 kilometers, if that's how far you can drive with it, here's my list of ways to move myself. I could drive myself, and that's going to cost me about 14 Rand. Maybe I could ride with another person and cut that cost in half, and that's 7. But remember, there's a drawback. I have to depend on another person or go when they want to go or something like that. There's public transport, but again, I have to wait for the bus. Maybe the schedule isn't convenient. Around here, it's not really safe. There's some cost associated with a bike. I have upkeep, but you see it's a lot cheaper. But again, the drawback is I have to ride a bike. Again, walking, maybe I have to eat a little bit more, so it costs me an extra Rand to provide the energy for myself to walk. Anyway, so if these are the prices, and this is the order in which I would think about doing things, well, let's see what happens when the price changes. Right now, so 10 kilometers is about how far I drive every day to work. So right now, it costs me about 14 Rand every day just to get to work. Well, I'm never going to choose to walk unless I just want to be healthy or something, but ceteris paribus, we're not going to do that. I'm never going to choose to walk because, 14 Rand or 1 Rand, it's not enough of a savings for me to consider that. So walking, when it's this close, isn't really a very good substitute. Biking, same. Public transport, same. Carpool, same. Well, what if the price of driving got much more expensive? What if this doubles, triples? What if it goes up by 10? So now every single time I drive to work, it costs me not 14 Rand, not about $1, but it costs me about $10, 140 Rand. Well, now all of a sudden, this action of driving myself to work, there's a lot of other good substitutes, okay? I might not think walking is a very good substitute at this price, but if walking is going to save me $10 every day, or riding a bike, or carpooling, or whatever, if that's going to start to save me a substantial amount of money, it becomes a better substitute. So when the price of a good decreases, it loses the amount of good alternatives. If someone who chooses to walk to work every day because that's all they can afford, if the price of driving went down to 1, what would happen to the alternatives to driving? Well, walking wouldn't be a good alternative anymore. Of course, they would just drive because then they can afford it. So as price goes down, I'm going to buy exactly or pay for exactly the activity I want to do. So if that's true, the quantity demanded is also going to increase. So in both of these, we see that the problem of scarcity is affected. As I get more and more income, scarcity is less of a problem for myself. Remember, in microeconomics, we're really just looking at, scarcity of resources is how much money do I have. So when prices go down, it seems like I have much more income, therefore scarcity is less of a problem. When prices go down, I can afford to get exactly what I want, so I don't have to make a choice because I can get this, that, and the other because I can afford all of those things because their price has gone down.